Hey everybody, I'm actually here at a hospital because my dad's getting a little bit of radiation therapy, and so it goes. I have a little bit of time. This next video is about my Fyxation quiver, but more broadly it's another example of how you don't need to spend a whole lot of money to make a bike that's captivating and a bike that fits you really well. And it really comes down to those three things for me. I don't want it to cost too much. I want it to fit like a glove, and I want it to surprise me. There was a Rick Beato interview with Sting recently in which Sting said that's what really motivates him, the element of surprise. And he talks about Bach and how, you practice Bach and you get caught off guard constantly because melodically and harmony wise, he's always just doing something that no one else is really thinking about. And to the maybe the uninitiated, it might just sound like some stuff that you hear in the background while you're drinking coffee at Pete's. But if you're tuned into certain elements and like really honed in on like nuances, you can go deep down a rabbit hole. And while my bikes don't look very impressive by modern standards with their sub 13 pound standards or whatever, and electronic shifting and amazing hydraulic technologies, they are for me the definition of what makes for a captivating bike. And so that's why I'm showing them to you. And so without further ado, here's my Fyxation quiver from 2013, the version 1, side pull rim brake one. So I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, please, won't you stick around? I don't want to say goodbye when the sun goes down. I want to keep you close, want to hold you tight. I don't ever want to say goodnight, won't you stick around? An hour or two will never be enough to be with you. Whenever you leave me longing and blue. Please, oh please, won't you stick around? Spare just a little time, don't go running around. I wanna keep you close, wanna hold you tight. I don't ever wanna say goodnight, but just stick around. Well, if you leave, don't leave it oh so long. Come on back where you know you belong. When we're apart, how I long for you. You stole my heart, don't you ever say we're through. Please, oh please, won't you stick around? Spare just a little time, don't go running around. I wanna keep you close, wanna hold you tight. I don't ever wanna say goodnight, stick around.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to do a quick intro to my Fyxation quiver. This is my flagship bike. It's got a Bridgestone head badge on there, as you can see. It says I think it says made in Ecuador. That's just for fun. It's not a Bridgestone, but the 90s might have gone a different direction, and in my science fiction mind, Bridgestone continues on and makes affordable steel bikes, and some are lugged and some are TIG, but this is like the new version of the RB2, for example, or not the RB1 with side pull brakes. It's a road bike, but it's got clearance for up to 47 millimeters wide because of these long reach brakes. And continuing the science fiction, it has a lugged crown because that's what makes a steel bike beautiful, and a raked fork because taking a page out of Ron's book, Ultra Romance, when you have a horizontal top tube, that pairs nicely with a curved, slender, raked fork as opposed to a straight blade fork. In my book, actually, they both look good, but I got this fork primarily because I wanted a lower axle to crown. That's distance from up here to the axle to the crown. And this fork helped me drop the bike by about 1 centimeter. It made it feel even more like a road bike. And with these wide tires, it corners better with the steeper head angle than it originally came with. The other thing is it's a 1x, and I never intended to keep this forever, but I've grown to love it. It's a 50-tooth chainring with a 1134 XT cassette in the back, and you can see it's got a rapid rise, XTR rapid rise rear derailleur, 11-speed chain, got a FSA Jamandi crank. And the key thing about this is when you use this type of a shifter, it's a Campy Chorus 11-speed ultra shift, meaning you can shift multiple gears in either direction. And you pair that with this derailleur, it is lightning fast and so connected to your sort of your mind. Like if you want to be in a certain gear and you hit the buttons, you can be instantly in that gear with half a pedal stroke, or like a quarter pedal stroke, you're in gear. But it feels like anyway. And I tend to think of it as a bike that picks up where vintage bikes left off, in that most vintage road bikes, you'd be hard pressed to put a 45 millimeter wide tire in there, and this one just sort of does it. These tires here are actually what I have settled on. They're 42s, Soma Pescadero. You know, whether you're climbing or riding across a trail, it's just a great tire to have as a road tire, to get across the roads, bumpy roads, jumping a curb, or going up you know, the lip of a driveway if you're trying to get off of the street. I think it's just a very sensible tire size to have. And to call it a road bike, that's an interesting topic. And it kind of brings up for me again this brake, because this brake wouldn't exist. This happens to be the Yokozuna long reach brake, but it's almost the same as the Tektro 559 long reach brake. Sort of a legendary brake in my book, because the idea of it was hatched in Grant Peterson's mind, and it wouldn't have happened without him. Tektro wouldn't have made it, because he presented that idea to Tektro at Interbike in 2005, and then it became the Tektro Silver. And that brake was badged with silver for some time. I'm not exactly sure when it stopped being badged as the Rivendell Silver, but it was sort of the progenitor to the 559, which we know today, but also like more like commuter versions of those, like the Tektro 365, the 556, and then you see offshoots, no brand versions of the long reach brake that go on bikes like Public and Linus and Retrospec, and there's a bunch of them. Fairdale. There's a lot of cool kind of commuter bikes out there that have used them, but I think Grant built this as a road brake. It's not a cantilever, it's not a V brake, obviously it's not a disc. We're talking about rim brakes here, but why it would be not one of the other ones, not a, you know, a touring brake, I think kind of comes down to the fact that it sort of has a limited amount of overall power. Can you stop? Yes. Can you stop quickly? Yes, especially with the salmon pads. And especially with the right selection of brake lever. I did a whole kind of posts on these on Instagram several years ago, in which I measured a lot of the cable pull of brake levers, and they're not all equal. And some of them I wouldn't recommend at all with this brake. It almost feels dangerous. But I'm going to get into that in other videos. But this bike represents road biking. But for myself, I always end up doing more than it's built for. So call it a road bike, but I ride it like a cyclocross bike. These tires, they invite you to just go wherever you want. And I spend a lot of my time off the roads, taking parallel routes to get places, and just enjoying that the bike doesn't really, I can jump it, I can, what do the kids say now? I can shred. I ride platform pedals, and a couple other quirks. It's got a menorah, bottle cage down here. I did a ride across Michigan a few years ago, and for training for that, I had to ride a lot of gravel roads without much refill opportunity. So I had to take like 3 or 4 bottles with me on a lot of the training rides. And I just love how it can turn into an adventure bike. I've been rocking this Revelate bag for like over 10 years now, and it's been great. I use it a lot on trips like this where I don't want to put a rack on the bike, but I do want to like toss in a jacket real quick or something puffy or something that I don't want to take room in my backpack. I'm heading to Oakland today, so I'm just running some errands. But it's got H Plus Sun TB14 wheels. These are not tubeless, but tubes work just fine. I run regular inner tubes, but I keep a TPU inner tube, a lightweight inner tube, in my backpack at all times, and I never have to change a flat anymore because I inject stands, or not stands, but orange seal, about maybe a ½ ounce to an ounce into these tubes, and it seals up any little like thorn punctures that come through. And I can't drop the pressure quite as low because I don't want to pinch the tubes, but I do typically run around 30 psi to 25 to 30 psi in these, and they're plenty cozy, and I don't pinch flat. So this is my Fyxation quiver. Sun's coming out. I got to get rolling, but I'll do a little bit more on this later on. There's a lot more I want to talk about with regards to the shifting, kind of the history of Campagnolo brakes, more history on long reach brakes, and it's kind of the history of road bikes, and where I'm hoping we can take bikes in the future. I don't really want to surrender to the current trend, which is sort of ever increasing tire sizes, disc brakes, electronic shifting, and hydraulic brakes. But I think there's a lot more to what makes bikes captivating and beautiful and valuable versus just faster, lighter, whatever. Bikes are art to me, and there's a lot more to it. So hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you can stay tuned and take a look at the rest of the bikes coming down in the future videos. I've got 4 more. There's a Trek Elance, a Giant FCR3 gravel bike conversion, a 1980 something Razeza, one of the first builders for the Benesto team in the early 90s. And finally the Velo Orange Polyvalent. So those will be coming up, and hope to see you soon.